Greetings and welcome to the Astronomy Picture of the Day podcast. Today's picture for July 19th of 2025 is titled Messier 6. So what do we see here? Well, here we see object number 6 in the catalog done by Charles Messier back in the 1700s of objects that were not comets. So things that were extended larger in size in the sky than individual stars, but not comets within our solar system. So here we actually see star clusters and galaxies and nebulae and assorted different types of objects in this catalog of about 100 different objects. Now in this case, Messier 6 is an example of an open star cluster. Open star clusters are relatively young objects, in this case maybe about 100 million years old. And the stars that we see in it are primarily blue. Now, the cluster itself is not massive enough to be gravitationally bound together. That means that those stars are slowly spreading apart, and over hundreds of millions of more years, they will slowly dissipate out into space, and the cluster will no longer be visible. And in fact, our own sun may once have been part of a cluster much like this. In the meantime, we see it as a compact grouping of blue stars. Now, the blue stars are most prominent because they are the hottest and brightest stars in general when we see a young cluster. But you will note one distinct exception here, and that is the brighter star up towards the top, known as BM Scorpii. Now, this star is a yellowish red color, and it is actually at the end of its life. This is a supergiant star and is a much cooler star than the others, but it once was a blue star like these. And as it went through its life, at the end of its life, as it used up its hydrogen in its core, it then expanded, and as it expanded, it cooled off, changing its color. It went from being a very hot blue star, smaller blue star, to being a much larger red-ish supergiant star. Now, that means at the end of its life, it could, depending on its mass, it will either become a planetary nebula, expelling out its outer layers, or it could explode as a supernova, and that would depend exactly on what the mass of the star is, which will tell us what will happen down deep in its core, and whether it will reach that ultimate instability that causes it to explode. Now here we also see the reddish glow of hydrogen gas. That hydrogen gas is energized by the ultraviolet light from those blue stars. And when it does that, it causes the hydrogen gas to glow, giving it that distinct red color. And this is gas that once would have filled this whole nebula, and it's now the remnants of the gas from which the stars that we see in the cluster have formed. So that was our picture of the day for July 19th of 2025. It was titled Messier 6. We'll be back again tomorrow for the next picture. So until then, have a great day, everyone, and I will see you in class.